everyone. I am Ron, and I probably underestimated how many takes it would take to actually record my thoughts. But I'm pleased to be sharing some Christmas thoughts with you. And the theme that I'm going to be sharing with you is from Matthew chapter 2, verses 1 and 2. And this is a very popular story that we all know. Verses 1 and 2 reads, Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea during the reign of King Herod. About that time, some wise men from eastern lands arrived in Jerusalem asking, "Where is the newborn King of the Jews? We saw his star as it rose, and we have come to worship him." We have seen his star as it arose, and we have come to worship him. Amen. And I just enjoyed this Christmas story, this part of the Christmas story, and it triggers the thought that these men, these wise men, were inspired to actually just embark on a journey. Some Bible scholars say that this journey from the eastern lands took them about 2 years to get to where Christ was before he was even conceived. And that actually kind of just tugs at me a bit, that God shows up to these people and begins to inspire them that there is a new king. And they had to actually have the discussion between themselves. Well, I think that star means that there's a new king. We don't hear of God actually speaking to them in this way, but they are so convinced about it that they embark on this journey. And I just want to say to you that maybe in this Christmas season, God has put a star over our lives, his signs, the sign of God's presence and his leading in our lives. Maybe we're not being perceptive enough, or maybe in times past, God actually used his signs to speak to you. And signs could be anything from circumstances that force us to look in a certain direction. It could be people speaking a certain word to us, maybe just casually speaking to us and giving us instruction, or maybe it's words of prophecy, words that come from the Bible itself, that that have come at a time that was crucial to us. It is signs of God's moving and God's hand upon our lives, guiding us to where he wants us to be. And in this Christmas season, I implore you to just look back on your life and see, maybe even before you were born, you are told stories that before you were born, such and such a thing happened. And, it served as an instruction, as something that would be a marker of God's presence in your life. And God has been doing it all throughout your life. It is the star of God. It is the signs of his leading. And I just want you to remember this in times when it's dark, especially right now when we're battling through, isolation and unending stories of the COVID and all these things that are happening in our world right now. But I just want you to look up and begin to seek for God's star, the sign of his presence and his leading wherever we are in our lives. He's not always speaking in that direct way, but many times God has his signs in our lives, as signposts of his presence and his power at work in our lives. Amen.